All right. Peace and wholeness to all. Welcome. You are now tuned in to the C.H.I for another episode of the health class you never had. And once again, the C.H.I is an acronym for the Collective Health Initiative, serving as your holistic HMO. And the health class you never had, again, is a 1 hour dose, if you will, of tips to suggestions on possible remedy solutions, as well as possible causes of various health challenges that we may be facing, and all from a holistic perspective. All right. And with that, let's just get an introduction, find out who is on this day's broadcast of the health class you never had. We have our sacred arts curator, Precious Mother Love, in the house.
My love and wellness, top of the day, everyone. I am here to help lift your spirits, emotions, and connect to your spiritual mind.
Right on, right on. We also have in the house our herbalist and holistic consultant, and as well as master drummer, Dr. U in the house.
Peace, family. Hope everyone is doing well during this time and optimizing the time for your best benefit.
Indeed, indeed. And also one of our practitioners, Sister Clarice. She deals with the natural body. She's our natural body care specialist. Yes, how intimate is that? Sister Clarice in the house.
Good morning to everybody. Glad you can make it on the class with us.
Right on, right on. So yeah, and again, my person is I am Master Chef, your comedic metaphysical warrior priest, serving somewhat as the host of the show for today. And what a show that we have. As mentioned before, some of you may actually been waiting for this show because this is where we have viewers reveal, check in. Several weeks ago, most of you, some of you may remember, others, who may not be familiar with, we put out a challenge, a Love Yourself to Life challenge several weeks ago, asking anyone if you feel as though you're ready to just really love yourself to life. What that looks like is simply just taking on lifestyle changes and or being conscious of the choice that you make that, shows that you really love yourself as far as specifically when it comes to health. So a sister reached out, Sister Keleeba Scott, and took us on. She took on the challenge as well as kind of put the, C.H.I to the test to kind of help her move forward with resolving this challenge. And we spoke yesterday evening, went through some things to make sure everything was set. And all we're doing now is just waiting for Sister Keleeba to actually join us. And until then, we're just going to ask, because we've been doing these shows. This is the 15th episode. And so we always encourage individuals to ask questions, whether you're catching us live or, whether you actually checking out the recording. Nonetheless, feel free to submit your questions and we'll be sure to answer the questions as soon as possible. Sometimes they'll be answered in the chat, depending on the nature of the question, and or we'll get to it in a show and or have a show about it itself. Again, just depending upon the nature of the question and if there's more than one, one of the viewers that are having any questions about that. So with that in mind, again, we are live now as we wait for Sister Keleeba. Feel free to begin any questions. But in the meantime, just with us who are on the call now, every week, every day, there seems to be more news, not necessarily happy news, but more somewhat disturbing news about the reality that is upon us. The so-called pandemic, the corona season, the COVID-19. When it first came out, when it was first being talked about, there were some conspiracy theorists, some skeptics, some saying it was 5G, the government's up to something. There was a lot of talk. There's still a lot of talk, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, some things is actually happening and it's not happy. So we just want to just not even entertain any of those thoughts and just look at, again, from a holistic perspective, and maybe we can just touch on individually how because again, all of us are being affected in some way or some fashion. So maybe we can just share a little bit on how we are looking at dealing with this and maintaining our high vibration, maintaining our peace, maintaining what we got to do in a sense. Because in the end of the day, that's what comes down to. No matter what's happening in the world and the universe, outside, we still have to maintain. We still have to eat, still have to live, still have to, be involved in relationships on some form of fashion. So we're looking at how can we still maintain that the best that we can and still, grow with that. So if anyone wishes to share any experience they had over the last week or so, that may be of some benefit in how, you may be dealing with the change and the shift in the reality that we have now.
I tell you what, those breathing exercises are coming in really handy this week.
Indeed.
Mama Elaine's breathing exercises have really been, not just what she's taught me, but what she helps us to apply. Exercising all the things that and applying them to myself this week for hearing certain news that doesn't seem to, correspond with what we've been hoping that everyone would gather from what we're sharing. I'm encouraging everybody else. Stop and take a breath sometimes.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah. From my standpoint, I definitely find the breathing exercises helpful. I also, encourage everyone to keep a positive mindset as much as possible. Anybody who I've talked to personally from the beginning of a lot of this, I've been a strong advocate of don't over inundate yourself with the news and these shows that's talking about COVID-19 all day, every day, because those things that they project onto what this situation is can become our reality. And, that's not necessarily the truth or the accuracy of what's really, really happening. And I've been fortunate enough to be in contact with a lot of people who work in hospitals, a lot of people who are frontline, in this situation, as well as herbalists, other herbalists across the country, other people in other parts of the world, where this is, it's affecting everybody more so psychologically on a global scale than it actually is affecting people physically. And that's the thing that I think that it's important for us to realize is that, we can't allow the outside influence to take control of our mind and our spirit. And so as long as we stay in that space, we can be equipped to deal with anything. You have to be in a state of positive mind, positive spirit. And how do we do that? We reinforce that every day. The spiritual exercises of affirmations, saying that, hey, my family or whoever it is that is okay, because you always want to focus on the positives. If you're okay, even if you are diagnosed with it or you come down with something and you're dealing with something, everything healing wise starts in the spirit and the mind first. So affirming, hey, I'm going to make it through this. This is going to be very short lived and temporary. And then you follow that with the action of the health regimens, the supplements, the herbs, the proper eating, making sure you're drinking enough water, get outside, get some sunlight, all of those type of things like that to support what your spirit and what your mind wants on the healing side. And if you have family members afflicted, or affected with this, then you can do the same thing on your side and encourage them to do the same. You can't control what everybody else is doing, but you can always direct yourself. You can be a positive example. You could be a source of inspiration and motivation for other people, and when things that you do work for you, that speaks volumes in itself. So I'm a strong advocate of that. On the physical side of things, I've been just making sure to keep up my multivitamin every day. I've been drinking my herbal teas. Right now I'm on my fresh air herbal tea, just to make sure that I'm opening up my breathing passages. I got outside yesterday, did a couple sprints up the alley close by me. You know what I mean? Did some jumping jacks outside of my front yard. All of those things like that big up to Dr. K, Karen Davis Folks, lymphatic specialist, epigenetic specialist. She always talks about that, the power of the mind, and also cleansing the lymphatic system, you know. So one of the ways that's important to do that is through movement, and especially through breath and through movement, and especially like jumping type movements. So the jumping jacks, even if you're going through any kind of respiratory distress, even seasonal allergies, the jumping jacks outside in the grass can be really, really helpful around this time. So those are some of the things that I would like to share with y'all family.
Right on, right on, right on. Good, thanks for sharing, Doc. And speaking of along the lines of sharing and uplifting, Sister Keleeba is now in our waiting room. So without any further delay, we're just gonna, invite her into the discussion here and carry on, because even though it's not directly related to the coronavirus per se, it is, and indirectly, because it is a season of healing all the way around. And how can we still move forward in spite of what is going on? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, now entering the room, Sister Keleeba Scott.
Woo!
Yeah.
Grand introduction.
Right on, right on. Welcome, yes, to the health class you never had, Sister Keleeba.
Can't hear you.
All
Your
right,
audio is
you're on
low.
mute.
Issues. Can you guys hear me though?
I
Yep,
can
there
hear
it
you
is,
now.
loud and
Okay.
clear.
Awesome. Awesome. I wanted
Listen.
you to be able to see my vision board behind.
All right.
Yeah, so I was trying to get that all set up for you guys. What it do?
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, looking good, feeling good, smiling. So, just to jump right off in here, all right. Starting out, just to let people know, what is it? What's the health challenge that you currently facing? How long you've been looking at it, and more importantly, what made you decide to reach out to accept the challenge with this?
Okay, so I've had several things going on. One of my things was fibroids. That's a huge thing that has been there. Although with Precious Mother Love, we're not claiming to have fibroids. We claim that was something that was diagnosed. So that's something I'm working on because they gotta go. So that was one of the things that I came to you guys for. Also, I was having chronic acid reflux, which has, definitely had to go. And weight loss, my energy level just was low. Like it didn't matter how much, sleep I got or anything like that. My energy level was low as well. So it was just and then just overall wellness, because with all of those things going on, I knew something is just not right.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Just put you in the spotlight here. Okay. So, because you are, featured speaker today. Next question is, what are some remedies, if any, that you already explored and experimented with? And what was the results, if any, in the past? What have you done in the past?
Okay. So, to deal with the fibroids, tend to produce heavy bleeding during your menstrual cycle, which is like a huge problem, because if anybody has dealt with those, that particular issue, that it makes it difficult to actually live your life. I'm staying close to home, just because it may need to be at my bathroom, things like that. And so I gone to my gynecologist, and she prescribed surgery, anti-surgeries, and she wasn't even sure that would cure the problem. It was like, okay, we'll do this and then it may come back.
Right.
We'll do this, and so, and then where they were sitting, she was worried about some other things, like maybe infertility and stuff like that. So it was just, and then she prescribed birth control. And it's so funny because my entire life I have been anti-birth control. I just,
Right.
I kind of come from a more holistic background, but even
Okay.
my internal common sense said I probably shouldn't stop my body from doing what it naturally does. And so that always
Yeah.
freaked me out. And then you read the paperwork that says all of the side effects and that these are possible things that can happen to you. And I was anti that, but I had gotten to a point where I needed to do something. And so I did try the birth control. And with that, I probably tried it for maybe 2 months. And long enough for my cycle to slow down a bit, and I was happy about that, but I felt that it was doing something that it shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
Internally, most of us are just afraid that we'll gain some weight, but I literally felt like my fibroids were growing. My stomach area was getting harder. It just felt like they were growing, and there's no medical reason for that to happen technically. So I can't tell my gynecologist that it made my fibroids grow, because she would tell me that no, it didn't.
Right.
But for them to grow that rapidly over a short period of time, I'm just like, no. What was different, what was new, and it was the introduction of the hormones into my system. So I have to discontinue that.
Okay. Yeah.
As far as weight loss is I had to do something different. Then weight management, I've tried several things. That's always I guess a continuous battle. But I knew that sometimes the weight, interacts with the reason why. They say that fibroids and you're more predisposed being heavier and stuff like that. So I wanted to change that. That's just been it's up and down. It's always, and I wouldn't consider myself somebody who eats poorly, but I've made some changes over the last couple of weeks, and I'm like, yeah, that is definitely different. I can feel something different happening. So maybe I wasn't eating poorly, but I wasn't eating properly either. How about that?
What's some of the things that you changed?
So one of my first, on my first interaction with Dr. Yu, we talked about vegetables and how many live, raw vegetables I was eating. And I'm like, yeah. Well,
what's that?
And I love vegetables. So this is one of those things I'm like, well, you kind of stumped me, because I thought, if I had a plate of vegetables, I'm doing good. But we talked about the live, the raw vegetables and the enzymes that are in those. Just cook a little bit of them out and we'll be, it's fine. But so that was one of the biggest changes that I've made so far, to use to eat more. As much as I love my steak and everything, I've not had the kind of switched over to raw food, the no breads, which, I was already trying to focus on no breads, praise God, because that would have been like super, super difficult. Thank goodness I was already like trying to leave those carbs alone. But then also, so I guess my my change right there was like to try to focus when I did have to eat meat on more pescatarian things, more fish and things like that. So far it's been, working and not as painful. And so, I think we constantly try to change our relationship with food. And that was definitely one of the things that has been happening over time. And I really think that has made a huge difference, because it's actually changing the way that I snack. And, I like food, so I want to enjoy it and stuff like that. And I'm actually finding enjoyable ways to have all of these things as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. So how about any other products or services that you was able to, participate and experience? Any thoughts on that you'd like to share about any of the products or services from the practitioners?
So my first service, well, okay, I guess besides the actual interactions with Master Chef every day, well, pretty much every day we were on it with, that was kind of a very intense way to get into me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a constant reminder, to take that time for myself, and and that was one of the very difficult things to have happened. So with that, that mindfulness that came in first, and then I had some from Dr. Yu. I'm taking live gestion tea and waterfalls brew for my digestion and for wound cleansing. And I will say, well, I'll tell you guys about that later. But then I did heart touch therapy, which was amazing. And I don't know how deeply you want me to go into these things, but
hey, heart touch therapy, go all the way in, baby, go all the way in. Inquiring minds.
So, okay, so with the tea first of all, taking the time for myself in the morning, that's still been very, very beneficial to me. Actually, this morning, I am so in my own groove that for some reason I did not set any alarms. I thought I did, but I did not. I must have been tired because I literally laid in the bed and I was telling myself not to wake up until these alarms go off.
Okay.
When I felt myself stirring, my normal thing is to get up and go because, I'm already rested. And I was like, no, we're going to lay here. And I'm, doing this breath and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, maybe, am I supposed to get up right now? So listening to myself, I get up and I realize it's already past 10 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, what happened? But that was fine. But it's just like literally my mind is starting to go to that place where like, yeah, no, what we're going to do is we're going to be here and we're going to be still. Since you want to already start thinking about things, we'll start thinking about ourselves and, what kind of, things we want to do and how we feel and all of the other stuff. And then when I started taking I have not had acid reflux since I began changing my diet and taking that and drinking the tea.
Well,
Is, yeah. And it had gotten to a point where I was literally experiencing acid reflux. It probably had to be 5 out of 7 days. Yeah, and I was popping, what do I like? Pepsid AC.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, yeah, so I have not done that. And I was just like, one of the days I kind of slipped on my diet or my changes. And I got up and I don't know what, I had some beef a little bit because I still cook and I cooked for my son. I just had changed for my portion. But his portions were still there.
Right.
So I ate a little bit, trying to be quick. And I didn't have my prep and stuff like that. And I also had chips and things, which I hadn't eaten, for a second because my new snack was raw vegetables.
Okay.
By the end of that day, I felt it creeping. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Just that quickly, here comes the acid reflux and that sick feeling. And now I realize that, that's the choice. That do I want to feel like this or do I want to feel like that? Right. And so I was like, wow, you can't slip, you can't backtrack because my body's like, no, we don't really like that stuff. We don't want it. So there was that. And I am literally waiting to see how, my menstrual cycle this month, turns out and see, if anything happened in that direction. But I'm definitely, I can tell that the teas are detoxing me and things like that. So that's really good. And then with the heart touch therapy, I came out of that with like a high feeling. Okay. It was very, like, I felt like I was vibrating on different, just like literally vibrating on the inside. And it was just so weird But it was a great feeling, but I literally had to sit there and make sure that my legs were still underneath me for a while.
Wow.
And then I also noticed that I had for some reason, and we had the coronavirus. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I woke up and I felt the tightness in my chest. Now I knew it wasn't the coronavirus because it was ongoing. It felt like,
Right.
you sleep wrong and then your chest compresses or something like that.
Right.
But I felt like there was an area that once I breathed deeply, I could feel, a strain there. It was almost like, what my grandmother would call a hitch in my get along.
What?
Yeah. So that was something internal. And literally after heart touch therapy, that was gone.
Wow.
So I don't know, that the heart touch therapy I know has, Reiki, acupressure. It felt like maybe an internal massage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
So
Mhm.
so that is so that was great. And then the next service was Mother Loves Aqua Chi.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if we should go too far into the Aqua Chi, except for me to tell you that you could physically see things coming out of your body, and it's just like, but if you look up anything about Aqua Chi, the water changes colors while you're there as it's drawing out toxins from your body and everything through your feet. And I took pictures, and I'm literally sitting there and I'm watching this regular water go from very light to very, very murky and just like this lagoon type blob stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but afterwards I felt really light. I felt really, I felt energized and just ready to go. So I guess after all of these services, there was a sense of that. And then I also did, the next thing was, we got into this vision board project. And let me get one more thing for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how cool is this, huh?
Yeah, so you're getting an inside peek.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I want to add, she mentioned that it made her feel lighter. The ionic cleanse, the foot detox made her feel lighter. It actually does remove 3 to 10 pounds of toxic waste through the pores in your feet. You've got 2,000 pores in your feet.
Mm. It is.
I think her.
And my feet are size 11, so might be a little bit more. Oh, okay. So here we are. Oh, wait a minute. One more second.
That's right. That's right.
And also, one more note: it does help to boost your immunity system. The ionic foot detox does also help boost your immunity system.
Which, at this point, I don't know about you guys, but I'm taking all the help that I can get. But yes, so when I did the vision board, she had me focus on 12 life goal areas,
Mm-hmm.
which focusing, so I've wanted to do a vision board for a long time. I really believe in these things in the first place, but the direction of looking at these life goals areas was even more impactful for me, because it's not just, I want to have a house and a lot of money and I want to get married, because that would be probably the end here. But focusing on the life goal areas and manifestation and things like that we were talking about, claiming things and not claiming things is just as important as claiming things, and the verbiage and all of that other stuff. So, vision board actually speaks to 12 life goal areas for me. And so as I continue to like, you know, go into those things and focus on those things is very helpful in focusing myself on myself. Like, this is what you really, really want. And I actually believe that I found out some things about myself when I did it. You know, it's like, oh, so that's how you feel? That's what you want? I mean, you did. Mother Love didn't put this together. You did. And I literally, afterwards, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, so that's really how you feel. You know what I mean? That's really what you, okay. So that is definitely going to be interesting for me. And I still have my paperwork with my 12 life goal areas to focus on, because I know also as I change, maybe some of these things will change, but I can also continue to like focus on them, focus on the areas and things like that, because I think one of my things, I can definitely get a little scattered and distracted by, you know, external things that go on. And it leaves you open to not, you know, focusing on things that are happening for you internally and what you want. You know what I mean? So at least I can figure out what is and what is not aligning with my 12 life goal areas. Yeah. So yes, and we did the heart touch therapy twice. So I don't know, though. It's just a great experience. Both of those things you got to do these things. I think everybody should have a vision board, and Mother Love, I hope you have some vision board parties, because some more, because I know we were talking about you doing some before, but this is a great way to like literally focus the energy, as opposed to it just being fun. More so to focus on, you know, how to make this vision for your manifestation moving forward. And then, that heart touch therapy, I don't know anybody that can, that's not what you get when you go for the massage. When you go to get a massage, it's I think this is a different high, you know, from that. And so it's definitely a, you know, spiritual connection too. And I know you always say one love and wellness or something, or
peace and wholeness.
Wholeness. That's what it is. Wholeness.
Wholeness, so, baby.
Yeah. So the interconnectivity of it all.
Claim the one love and wellness phrase.
That's you. Okay. All right. One love and wellness.
Well, we also did a final touch piece that is your radical manifestation worksheet, which is like a contract with yourself. So you have some questions on there to answer, and that goes with your tool for your manifestation. That's a document that I got from a master manifestation class. So I've added that since 2020. I did that in January. So this piece is like a contract with yourself. So a part of the challenge is, you know, making it a mental practice as well as the physical practice that you are making the commitment.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? I've noticed through this whole thing, to promise myself things or to show up for myself is usually more difficult than anything else, you know? Mm-hmm. I think we know the reasons why immediately that we do things for other people, or we, you know why you do your job, you know why, you know, and you must do that because you want, you know, your paycheck. Or, you know, even creators, we know why we create our pieces, because bring the shacoin.
Right.
You know, we know why we do this, even with, you know, the benefits of, you know, our jobs and things like that. You want to help people, you want to heal and things like that. But those are reasons why. And finding reason to show up for myself and to actually think about those things and focus on those things is, you know, it's radical, Mother Love.
And you embraced it very well. It was a transition you had to really reach too far for, because you're a helper. You actually help others as well. And so you sometimes can get distracted. And we talked about that this morning, the collective group. We talked about as we are taking care of other people, sometimes we have to take the time and make sure we're taking care of ourselves as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, a lot of times that's so much easier said than done. And there's no way for me to express or explain how much easier said than done that is. You know, it's actually a new commitment for yourself to do these things. So.
Well, you know, I would add to that perspective is everything. And, you know, it may seem like it is because it's something that we're not used to doing for
Absolutely.
ourselves. But at the same time, if you're doing it for other people, it's the same process. You're just shifting the focus.
Yeah, yeah. That is another thing too, I suppose. And I think the way that you guys work together is pretty good, because Master Chef is like, listen, you know, forgive yourself, you know, we'll move forward, focus on, you know, doing things. And so I know Dr. You and I were talking at one point, and he's like, look, what you want to do? Is this what you want to do? And I was like, well, okay. I mean, yeah, you know, so.
It's for the most important person in my life, me.
Yeah. So that perception, I mean, I think everybody has their own way to attack perception and self-talk, or the way that we are perceiving things and receiving things, and, you know, what we're doing with all of those things that we are seeing and perceiving, and, you know, and manifesting on our own. But I think that was a crucial moment too, because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I should probably do that now then. Okay, so we'll just do it now. That's great. But it was a come to Jesus moment for me, because it was like, you know, a little bit of a foot up the butt, like, okay. No, I think the phrase were, how committed are you to this change? And I was like, what?
Mm.
Hold up.
Mm.
You know, and I was like, you know, and I realized at that moment, like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? I'm super committed, because we're talking right now, like, I'm super committed. And then I was like, well, then do your actions match what you're saying? And so if your actions aren't matching what you're saying, is your heart really in it the way that you think it is? Because some things are words and some things are things that are their action. They are. So yes. Yeah. So this was very, it was an aggressive, comforting, ushering, you know what I mean? It's like, we'll push you, but we're not going to like punch you in the back, but we're going to definitely push you. Okay. So it was,
you asked for it, so you got it. The
challenge. Yeah.
The challenge.
That's it. All right, cool. So
I just personally want to say real quick that I'm really proud of you and where you are, and even you know, your vibe right now, and you know how you're looking, as opposed to even when we first when we first met, first and foremost, and then when we first began talking.
Yeah.
I can see the shift. So I want to salute you for that.
Thank you so much. Because yes, and you know, sometimes I like love, and I realize that tough love is still a part of that, and that was still very instrumental to say, you know, because it did make me think, like, how committed, and like, and is that there's a way. And so I think that particular question also helped me to remove some of my barriers that obviously weren't really barriers, because I went in that refrigerator and I found those things that I needed and could use, and I was like, okay, so I guess we'll just do, okay, you know, so so it was, this has definitely been a very interesting journey, and I think all of the elements were really helpful, especially in conjunction.
Yeah, we felt that it was complimentary for you to do, like, my thought was doing the, where your all your senses are stimulated and your body gets a full workout or work over the kind of heart touch therapy that you got. I thought that was a good precursor for you to do the ionic foot cleanse, because your energy is already up, the pathways are already clear, you already have, you're open to the cleansing process at that point. So I thought that went really well together. And then our final piece together, which you have to take the time out for you. That vision board, you know, we spent 4.5 hours doing
Yeah,
vision
yeah,
board. And I will say I did mine with you. I took the time to do mine with you. And I just kept saying, look, we are doing this for ourselves. This
yeah,
is a piece that is it's too valuable to just leave undone, and to think that we're going to finish it later. If I let you leave with it unfinished, you know, that would have not served the purpose properly. You wouldn't have had a complete tool to go to work with.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was wild, because, and then the time passed. It passed, and things just went the way they were going to go. And it was more so like, you look up and 4 hours had passed. I could not believe it. You know,
You
I
still
guess
have to do your poem. Did you do your poem yet?
I am still working on my poem, because I am an artist as well. So, you know, I'm sensitive about my ish. And so my poem has got to be like on point. You know what I mean? I know that it's going to encompass, you know, all of these things and more. It's going to be like a bird flying up out of here, man. You know what I mean? Has wings, has feet, and all of that other stuff. So I'm working on actually putting it together in a poem way, but every day I actually get to focus on, you know, these are the things that I want, you know. And I've actually started to feel like my attitude towards certain things may be actually shifting, because, you know, be it people or things.
Yeah.
I've gotten like an ill feeling, like, wait a minute, no, why would I be doing that though? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you're not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not aligning. You know, I've gone to text certain people and I'm like, but why would I do that? It's not really, it's not really what I want. So what am I doing here? So yeah, big things are definitely happening.
Last piece on that vision board, it is like a life story and a storyboard to your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tell the story to yourself the way you want to manifest your own fantasy, your own world, you know, I give it these, you know, way out words, but it is a window to your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're seeing your vision as this being my life, you know, that story will manifest.
Well,
Absolutely.
In Ashe.
we only have
Absolutely.
a few minutes left on the show. So what closing statement would you like to share with everyone, or what takeaway would you like everyone to have from your experience?
Yeah.
So the takeaway, number one, you got to get yourself involved with the Collective Health Initiative. I know you guys have lives and things like that are constantly going on, and sharing information. And I'm a true believer in sharing information that is healing for the entire world, people in its entirety. So I would definitely say check out the Collective Health Initiative. And I know that it has been challenging to focus on me, and just like Dr. Yu was saying, these are things that you have to do, and you have to change your perception and you know, some of the things that we think are hard are a little bit easier. We just have to be committed to doing them. And I encourage everybody to check out these services, like get into it, even if you just, I think one time with anything would be life-changing, because literally all of the services that I did with you guys, I could immediately, there was literally an immediate result. And I know that everybody's different, but there was literally an immediate, and this is funny because from my knowledge of holistic things, is that you need to be patient because they take time, but there was an immediate give back from these things. And maybe it's because where I was, maybe it was because, you know, I'm ready to receive it, but there was an immediate result that I got back from that. You know, the T's immediately, you feel yourself eliminating, the toxins are leaving, the heart touch therapy, immediate. Chi, I mean, you can't say nothing about that aqua chi because in 30 minutes you're gonna see, honey. So yes, I would encourage people to do that. Let's get into these diets and not diets, the changes of behavior and like eating to live, because that's part of loving ourselves. And this was a great challenge, and I hope you guys do it again. And I hope people get on board, because there's definitely a shift that comes with taking care of you and caring about yourself. And I think that I would never have gotten here without other people to usher me into thinking about myself and doing things for myself that actually were beneficial to myself. So, and I think that benefit actually carries on to, you know, the rest of my life when I want to give to other people as well.
Thank you so much, Sister Keleeba, for your participation, for sharing your story.
Thank you guys so much.
Love you, and look forward to continuing to hear about all of the progresses in your journey.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. And y'all gonna see, because you know, I know that I have dropped a couple pounds, which is not actually my focus anymore. The wellness is my focus.
Yeah.
But so this smile and everything, y'all gonna see, you know what I mean? Because I'll be sending pictures and updates and things like that. But for sure, I thank you all for your efforts and your time, and I encourage everybody else to, you know, get on board. The Capital Heights, the Collective Health Initiative. It's an amazing. You guys are doing amazing things. So
thank you so much.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You know, Sister Keleeba, you also, all of us did not participate. We all decided what we were going to do to assist you. But we also have other services that are available that you can still participate in as well. We do have Soulful Touch, Ketnu. We also have, you know, Clarice, who is also here with us today, who also has some wonderful flower essences and some numerous other healthy healing aspects that she utilizes. You know, Mama Elaine also has her lane, which is for the physical exercise, breathing, as well as yoga. And so Stefan, our resident, I'm not exactly sure the title, but she's a farmer in one category, but a bringer of life.
Bringer of life, I like that.
Agriculture.
Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
Bringer of life. All set.
There are numerous other ways that we can be helpful to others as well as yourself. And we would like to offer that information is available on our page. But we also, past episodes will give you some of their specific specialties and information about them as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which also says that it doesn't stop here. You know, there's loving yourself and loving on your community and loving on everything. And so it's as intricate as we are as humans. So I'm looking forward to it. So I guess, clearly I'll be seeing you guys around.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a Love Yourself to Life challenge. And as long as we're living, we look forward to having you back on the show again with future updates from time to time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right on.
So tune in next week, family, to the health class you never had. We'll be back Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be bringing some more great information your way, some more great motivation your way on how to live your best life.
Look to our page for some of our live events coming up this week as well. And there's some classes coming too. Do you have a class, Doc?
I have, I'm actually planning an herbal walk sometime in May, but I don't have an exact date set yet. But stay tuned for that. That's coming up. And Mommy Elaine is going to be doing a breath workshop sometime, I believe, this week.
Yeah, Friday.
Friday.
10 a.m.
This
Friday, 10
Friday?
a.m. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
check, be on the lookout for that. That'll be live from our Collective Health Initiative page as well.
Yes, people, learn to breathe. Woo! That was a whole other thing too. We have got to learn to breathe and take in those life cleansing and life bringing breaths.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
cheese.
All right. So until then, peace and blessings, everyone. And stay tuned to the health
Health
class you
class
never
never
had.
had.
Never had.
Right
One
on,
love
right
and
on.
wellness. Snaps, taps, and claps. One love and wellness.